Hi, Internet viewers. Frank Rauscher again. We are marching on. We're trying to get the goldfinch flying. So this is the one that we're working towards. And I just wanted to mention to you that this is the shape we've gotten from the last video. And we marked the head up. And I'll go over that again just to make sure that everybody got that. And we got some of the markings for the beak in here, and I'll show you that too. I'm going to take you on the way I approach marking the head out. This video is going to be totally concentrated on just doing the head. We're going to try to get most of the detail out on this one, hopefully, and we'll should be able to do that, I would think. So I'm going to move the camera down so that you can see exactly what I'm marking up and how we do it, and we'll proceed on. So bear with me. Okay, here we go. I just want to go over a couple of the points that we did before. We had the center line going through the head here, and I was saying to you, if you sliced this straight down, if you could get the ruler to have the edge of the ruler, I should say, through the top of the head and the bottom, it should be all in the same plane along this ruler edge if you look down on it. Okay, and that will make sure that you're perpendicular. We did set up what I call the beak line, which is this one here, and I showed you how we did that. We had a point out here, and then we measured so far down from the top, and if I can get that measurement, I will give you that one too. I sort of forgot it from the last time. It looks like it was, hang on, I'm looking at this, and I have 9/16. Let's see if that is true. I think it's more like, hang on, let me take a measurement here. I'm trying to get this exacting so I can keep everything above board here. Looks like it's more like a 1/2 inch than 9/16. So let me just measure this. Now it's not a wrap. This is a hard ruler and not the flexible one I have. So I go from the top of the head down, and if I measure a 1/2 inch down from the top down, I put a dot right there. And I'm going to do this on the other side too. From the top down, I measure a 1/2 inch, and I put a dot right there. I may have told you 9/16 in the last one. I apologize a little bit. We're sort of changing things like I do sometimes, and I don't mean to do that to get you confused. But here's what I'm going to do here. I'm holding this ruler. I'm not trying to lay it down, but you could. You really could. We have the tip of the beak, and we have this 1/2 inch from the top of the head down, and we got 2 points. So I'm lining my ruler up so that I'm on that point, and I'm coming right back through this one here. Let me erase that. I got a wave in there. I didn't mean to do that. If I go straight, it should go like this. There you go. So this is what I call the beak line, and everything is built off of this line, and it's the same way on this side. You got the tip of the beak here, And you got that. I'm going to draw it freehand because I can draw some pretty good straight lines. I'm coming right on through and taking it back that far. Okay, so I have that on both sides. Now, from that, the one thing that we want to get is the eye location. So from the tip of the beak in, I have a measurement of 11/16. And for those who are doing it in millimeters, it's 18 millimeters. So I'm going to lay my ruler on here. I just happen to have 11/16, so I'm going to use that. And 11, there's 10, 11 is right here. Now, I'm going to put a perpendicular line to this beak line, which should come straight up through here. Okay, like this. And then, if I look over here, I'm saying it's 3/16 up from the beak line is where the eye's located. So I'm going to measure up 3/16, which is right there. Let's see, sorry about that. I'm going to turn my hat around. In fact, I should actually be putting in my optivisor, which I did bring. Okay, so it's 3/16. It's pretty close. And when I'm going to draw another parallel line or a perpendicular line this is the parallel line I'm going to go. I'm going to make a crosshair up here. So I want perpendicular this way up. And then once I got up here, I measured 3/16 from the beak line up, put a dot, and then I made a parallel line to my beak line up here, which is really perpendicular to the vertical line. Hope I didn't confuse you. Now, the thing I want to get, and I'm saying that this eye is a 4 millimeter eye. So if you measure up 2 millimeters and you go out 2 millimeters and you go out 2 millimeters this way and 2 millimeters that way, I'm going to ask you to make a circle right through there like this. Okay. And that is our eye location. Now, here's how I handle that. The eye that we have is a 4 millimeter eye that we're going to put in. So I usually get a diamond ball like this. In its former life, it was a diamond ball. And what I use it as a burnisher, I still use it. I don't know if it has any grit to it. I get that in there. But you could use a drill or something like that, which is 4 millimeters across, okay, the size of the ball. This is actually not a 4 millimeter ball. If I put this on my ruler and I measure this, this is probably about 3.5 millimeters. But that's okay, because I will expand the eye hole later, and I do have a 4 millimeter one too, but I just do this just to start. Now, what I want to do is come straight down, right on center, and drill this out. So, and by having a smaller ball, it'll give me a chance. First, I want to get a little starter in there to say I'm on center. And then what I'll do is I'll lean in. I don't know if you can see that when I do it, but I try to stay right on center and go down. Now, like I said, this is a 3.5 millimeter ball. I'm going to ask you to go to the point when I stick it in, the whole ball is basically into that hole completely. See, if I put it in sideways here, you can see that disappears. What happens is the eye is all the way back here to this other line. Remember we had from the center out, let me shut this off a second so you can hear me clear. This was the top of the head. This portion here was 1/4 of an inch out this way and 1/4 of an inch out that way. That is what I call from the eye up, it's 1/4 of an inch on each side, which makes it a 1/2 inch for the head. And then this line out here, which came out to be, here it was 7/16 or 10 millimeters, is from here to here. That's the cheek area, which is down here that we're going to develop tonight, okay? So we have to drill far enough in that we want to get to that line. So maybe I want to push that a little bit more, and I'll stick that in there some more and try to go straight in. And I think I'm there, okay? And if I'm not, I will come back later and drill the hole again. Now, here's what I have. I have the eye located. And also, just to reinforce what I said last week, from the tip of the beak on this beak line, we measured back 7/16 and put a dot. And from up here, which is where right here, where we started the locate the beak, from this point where the head came around here with these what's the name, not angles but curves, this one and then this one, I'm going to start from here, and I came out on a 45-degree angle like I said last time. We hit this turn here, and once we hit there on a 45, I stop. Then I come out from here and I curve around, and then I drop down onto what is that 7/16 mark back here. So from here to here, it was 7/16 from here to here, and I bring that around. Then I also said that you had a C in here. So from here, this comes popping out, and then it comes back, and this from the beak line down is 1/8 of an inch. And then what I want you to do is draw a line coming straight out following the beak line, and we're going to do that on the other side as well. So that's how we establish this. Now, from the eye, I have a measurement of 7/16. And that is called, this is what I call the cheek, okay? It's going from the center of the eye back. So what we need to do is here's the center line of the eye, and I'm measuring back, paralleling the beak line. This line here. I'm going to come back and line this up and go back 7/16 and put a dot. Now, I'm going to make a perpendicular line right through that beak line. And another way you can do it too is the beak line, where it was lined up with the eye, if you came back 7/16, you could have put a dot there and just give me crosshairs right there. Now, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make like a rectangle. I'm going to go, here's my beak line, here's my eye center line. I'm going to extend that center line out, okay? Now, the other thing is I want to create this cheek, and to do that, it's 3/16 down. So if I come over, even we'll stay at the eye center line here. The beak center line, where it was locating the eye, and we come down 3/16 on that line, and I put a dot there. You could do it even back here too, 3/16, and put a dot there, and draw a parallel line to the beak line, like this. Okay. Now what we have, we basically made a rectangle in here. Okay. Now here's what I'm doing to create that cheek. I'm going to do this. I'm going to come out of the center line. I'm going to turn, and this 7/16 back is my tangent point. I'm going to make like an arc coming right around here, and it's going to touch this 3/16 line down here, and then I'm going to come up. I'm not going right to that point. I'm going to stop short of it, but I'm going to bring this right up to here, but not to that point. So we now have this boxed in. Okay. Now that is the framework where our cheek is, this portion right there. So let me show you how I'm going to approach this, but let's go back onto the beak right now, okay, because we got to do some shaping in there. Now for those who have the bullet, which was the diamond bit, you could use that, or I have here a ruby flame, which is what I like to use too, and I'm going to put that one in my handpiece here. And here's what I want to do. I want to come in along this line that came from where the head and the beak meet, and I'm going to undercut along this line. Let me get my optivisor, which is this guy right here, and I plug that on so I can see better. Now what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to undercut by still leaving the pencil line there. I'm undercutting on what would be like the inside of the beak, or on the beak itself. It comes down, around, and I get down to the beak line. Now, one other thing I want to do before I get too far afield, because I see that I should have mentioned that to you too. The beak line, and I'm going to heavy that up on the front here so you can see that as well. That's coming up like this. Well, the split in the beak here to here is actually going off the beak line. It's bowing up and coming down. So the actual line is this. It comes out of here, it goes above the line, and then it comes back down below the line, so that you have a little arc in here. And so you don't lose that in your grinding here. I'm going to do this. I'm going to get my burning pen, and this X is like a stop. I'm going to come in here, and I'm going right back to my 7/16, which was all the way back to here. And I'm going to burn that little bit of arc. But when I come out to the end, I try not to burn all the way to the end. I actually lift after I get out there. See, if you look, there's a little bit of a spacing just before it, but I'm going to burn deep back in that corner there, okay? And I'm doing one side at a time here, but we got to do this for both sides, and I'll show you that too. So here we go. I got that established now, so I'm undercutting this right here. And you can see, if I get my pencil, here's my actual pencil line up here, and I'm following it, but I actually made a groove, and you can see a little step down in here, right on down to the beak. Now, I have the center line going right through here. Now here's what I want to do. I want to slope this beak from the burn to the center line of the head here. So watch me on this. I'm going to take and use the middle of my bit. It could be this is the flame ruby, or I could use the what's the name? The bullet shape. So here's what I do. I come out here and I want to slope the whole thing all the way up to this center line right there, down to this burn. It's going to have one slope. I don't want to go past the center line, and I don't want to go into the burn. I'm going right down to it. Okay, now we got that one going. Now, what I want to do, let me heavy this up, because it may get lost from handling here. Here's that C that we have on the bottom edge. It pops out towards the beak, and then we go straight out across here. This is actually going to go right across. We did that right, and we do it right on the other side. It comes back to here, and then this is going to come across here. Okay, like this. Hope you can see that. Now, let me just for expedite things here and do it on the other side so we don't get totally too far from one side to the other. I'm going to lay my pencil here and get a little bit of an arc off of the line. And you want to look at it so it looks like it's got the same profile from one side to the other, so that you don't come up with a beak that looks a little different. So I'm going to go in and burn deep in the corner here. Let me shut this off. You don't need that noise. I'm going to come in here, following that arc. And before I get to the end, I lift. Let's see. I think I could come out a little further on this side. I'm getting a little chintzy here. There you go. A little bit more. There you go. Okay, that's pretty close. So now I got them looking the same, okay? I called it like a smile in a sense, but it really isn't. But anyway, now what I want to do is I'm handling one side at a time. So where the C is, and this comes straight out and comes across here, I want to undercut the C just like I did above here. So I'm going to come in here. Coming right in here. Hope you can see this well. I'm undercutting that C so it has a lip just like this does. And then I'm going to follow this line across. I'm going to come this way. Now I'm undercutting that beak along that line. Okay, I'm actually getting a raised section right where the pencil line is. That's formulated where the beak is. Okay. Now, for expediting things, I'm going to take that right across to the other side here too, even though we haven't done anything on the other side. Just a Now, I'm going to go back in here with a pencil just so that you can see what I've done. Because it gets a little lost in here. Here's the C. Here's this coming across. This comes all the way across over to here. And I'm going to put that center line so we don't lose any of it right back in there where it was. Okay. Now, that center line, I want to slope from the beak split down to our pencil line down here. Okay. We're going to slope, just like we sloped this way, we're going to slope this way. So let me show you. I'm going to come in here where the burn is, and I'm going to slope this down. And I'm going to slope everything down, losing the pencil line here a little bit, so I'll put that back in there so hopefully you can see it. It seems to be very light. So from here to here, it's sloping. Now, I'm going to also show you how we get some shape out of this beak. This beak is just not just coming out to a point. And we're going to do this on the other side too. But what's happening is the beak has a rollout. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put the point of my bit into here, and then I'm going to roll this around. I'm going to get like a small chamfer, and then I'm going to blend this around. And then I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Because what happens is the beak rolls inward, on both top and bottom. And I'll show you how we create that. Okay. So here we go. I'm going to get this right into that burn. And if you can see this, maybe you can see it, maybe you can't. There's a little chamfer. You can see it's lightening up right on the outside. And then I slightly round it over to get rid of that chamfer. And I'm just doing it within the area that we undercut and still maintain the slope. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the bottom. I'm going to come in here. You can see that chamfer starting to form right there. And then I'm going to roll that out. And the beak has this, it looks like it's rolling in from the top and rolling in from the bottom. Okay, and that's what we're trying to achieve. Now, this is not the end all, because if you look at the front end of this as you're looking straight down at it, this beak is so wide. If we were doing like babies or something like that, sometimes their mouths are like expanded, and you get a look like this from here to here, but not the adult. The adult's going to be half of this. So we're going to modify this beak as we go. But now that we did this side, I'm going to do the other side. Watch me again. We're going to do this again. And let's see if I got that correctly. Yeah. I'm just cleaning up what I did up here, because I think I may have shortcutted it a little bit, but I want to maintain that slope. Okay, here we go. Let me show you what I'm doing here. I'm coming off of this point, coming around and turning down. So I'm going to undercut all along that line right here. Okay, what I did is I stopped the video, and it got kind of lengthy, and I wanted to do the other side and not make it so long. So I started you in, and then I noticed that what I did is I went off camera again, like I normally do sometime. And I didn't want to confuse you. So what I did is I stopped the video, and I'm jumping back in here. I'm going to produce a second video after this to do the other side, and I will show you how I finalized the whole head. But I thought it was just getting kind of lengthy, and I went out of camera range at the time, and I have to watch myself on that. So just want to let you know, we're going to have it as a second part of this, and I'll show you how to do the other side. And then we're going to reduce the beak, which is what will really pull it in, and I'll show you how we do that too. So I hope you got something out of this one as well. I apologize for me drifting again, but I wanted to cut it off so I didn't confuse you. And we will do the second part, and that'll be the other side. And I'll show you how we line the eyes up and make sure that everything's just right. And hope you got something out of this one. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. And if you have friends that may be interested in wanting to try the goldfinch, if you could pass my information on, that would greatly help me in my channel. And if you need anything as far as kits or eyes or feet or patterns or even the equipment, the bits I use or anything, I do have them available. And if you write to me in my email, and it's Rauscher, R-A-U-S-C-H-E-R, Frank, F-R-A-N-K, 7@gmail.com. And if you want to ask me questions or anything on this, definitely do it through the email. And if you didn't get this email address, you can get it in the body of the video. There's a description of what I've done, and it will have the email address. All my videos have my email address in it, in the descriptions. So if you need to contact me, or you need information, or you got some questions, hey, fire away. I'll try to help you out as best I can. And I will follow up on another video. I just wanted to try to get this out to you. Doing half of this looks a little weird because the bird, it's puffed out on one side, and it's sort of finished on the other side, and it gets a little weird. I wanted to do the whole thing so that it would come together. So bear with me, and we will have you having the head out on the next video, okay? So appreciate everybody hanging in there with me, and I hope you're enjoying it. So we'll see you on the next video.